What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Canes Inside Podcast, powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Miami has a new commit on the offensive line, trying to build the best offensive line class in school history, and they're well on their way, pretty much almost there. They got a very big piece with the commitment of Canon Pickett out of Tampa Tech, 6'5", 325, major Miami ties. We'll talk about all that and more. First, got to bring in the man himself. I don't know if Honey the Golden Doodle's with him, but it's Peter Ariz. Peter, get in here.
D, I think I consulted with the girlfriend. She gave me a game plan as to what to do to hide the squeaky toys, because I hid the squeaky toys before, but the issue was that the dog Honey saw where I hid them. So then when I came back to the rooms, was barking into the room that the toys were hidden. So the toys are now hidden in a place that the dog does not know where they are. So I'm learning along the way here, but I'm going to use the same transition you used last time. Miami just picked up a dog here in Canon Pickett.
Yeah, I think first thing with this guy, you talk about the bloodlines. So as just go through, his brother Booker Pickett Jr., a defensive end on the team right now, really athletic, just really a speed rusher more than a size guy. Pickett being projected as a guard, his brother's all about speed, so it shows you the athletic bloodlines. His dad, Booker Sr., standout for the Canes back in the 90s. 6'5", 325 is the number I'm getting from inside the building there. I wouldn't push back on that one. I think that's pretty accurate. Maybe 6'4.5", but he is a wide, strong-looking dude. Not bad at all. He looks the way you want your guards to look. He was out there with Brett College, Joel Irvin, Jackson Cantwell. I mean, monsters, right? Standing right next to him, and he did not look out of place. Looked like someone that would fit right in next to those guys. And I would love to pair him with Brett College. I kept saying his name 50 million different times. Brett College. But right now, this is a huge piece. I think that when you look at Pickett, this is a guy who had interest from Clemson. Clemson tried really hard to get him. Had him up there multiple times, unofficially and officially. Tried to push him to commit during their big official visit weekend. Didn't happen. He ends up going to Miami and committing. But that was a major fight. This was not like a legacy that, hey, we're taking this guy and, we're not really crazy about him, but we're just going to take him. No competition. This was a battle with big-time schools. Florida also in the mix, although Canon Pickett, when he visited for the Miami UF game in Gainesville, he was in the end zone throwing up the U when Miami scored right there in the UF recruit section. He was one of those guys. So ultimately, the obvious pick was the pick, but it wasn't so obvious getting there. They had a battle for this one.
Yeah, and I'll pull up the huddle here. Plays a lot of tackle at the high school level, but we expect him to play interior offensive line. I'm going to be playing guard most likely.
Yeah, and I think with Pickett, you see the athleticism at tackle. I think he's more raw than a Kaloje, who's playing guard, who's playing at IMG. Basically he's a college player already. Pickett is raw, but look at him pull. You see the balance. Look at the nastiness to give him that extra little thump there. But he's playing left tackle. Tampa Tech is a good program. They put a lot of guys in Division I, in Power 4, so it's not like he's out there playing in the sticks. But I just think because of the fact that he's playing left tackle, doesn't have the time to work on his game like you do in IMG, there's still some rawness there. And I think you see the drive ability. I can't stress enough. Seeing him in person, this guy is a wide-bodied dude, man. He is built like a guard. Sometimes these guys, you see them, they look good in pads, and they have thin shoulders. That's not this guy. This guy is broad. But you see the athleticism. You see the nimbleness. Sometimes he'll do the wrong thing, get in the wrong position, and he's athletic enough to recover, which is a big thing when you're evaluating offensive linemen, is can they get themselves out of bad positions? Or if they get a little awkward, football's crazy. There's a lot of movement going on, as you see there, right? His ability to change directions. So if you can't adjust your body on the fly at offensive line, you're cooked. I mean, look at there. I mean, he basically just stumbled into a second level block, and the guy ended up off the screen. So that, to me, shows you when it doesn't go perfect and it's not done perfectly, do you have the ability to recover? Here you see him against Ashari Charles, a guy Miami would love to add as a defensive end, 4-star player, and dry blocks him pretty easily. That's that pure power, which I think he possesses.
The sites, I mean, some of them have him as a 3-star. I know 247 has him as a 3-star, but we talk about this with guys, Clemson, was pushing heavily for him. Matt Luke, regarded as one of the better offensive line coaches in the country. Florida on him very heavily, as you mentioned as well. So I look at the schools that were in on him. I look at the athletic background in terms of his family and the bloodlines, as you mentioned. This is a 4-star player to me.
I agree with you. Size-wise, he looks it. You know who he reminds me? He reminds me of another guy who's actually rated lower than him, but I think is going to play in the NFL is Matt McCoy. Matt McCoy maybe has a little more height, a little more tackle upside. I think Matt McCoy ultimately will be a tackler, at least get a shot. Plays guard right now, but I see some similarities, just body-wise, in terms of the natural mass that they have, the athletic ability, the fact that these guys are developmental, but they could still play early being developmental, and then ultimately have NFL upside. So I see some of that with McCoy. You always bet on bloodlines, and with his bloodlines, not only does he have UN bloodlines, but he has athletic bloodlines. Look at that pull right there. Look at his ability to accelerate, man.
Yeah, and at this position too, some of this, you're seeing the athleticism pop, but I think there's more in the tank even than he's shown. And as he maybe chisels up a bit and loses some baby fat, just again growing into his body, as some of these offensive linemen do, right? Not everyone is looking like they're NFL ready. Some of these guys, Jackson Cantwell is a different specimen than some of these guys, but Pickett with those bloodlines, I think once he gets in that college weight room, the nutritional program, we'll see him be one of the more athletic offensive linemen on this team.
Yeah, and you see consistently drive. This is high school, right? But he's consistently driving guys back. And I think that's that guard build that he has. But yeah, look again here, little guy. He's able to hit a small target and not just like kind of lean into him, but deliver a shot. And that's hard to do.
Threw his body at him. He kind of left his feet there.
He did. He launched. But that's hard to do, man, when you have when you're that much bigger than the guy you're blocking. It takes a certain amount of body control to be able to go full speed, slow down, square up, and then strike. More athletic. First of all, to get up there requires athleticism, but then you still have guys, they'll just kind of like shield the guy away, right? Because they can't bend down and explode. But he shows the ability to do that. And I think that's a great attribute. Good comp here, by the way, P. I want to know what you think about this one from Brandon. He says he kind of reminds me of Javion Cohen. Similar size. I see it from the build standpoint.
Yeah, definitely. I can see it. King Tuss says not so long ago, Canon Pickett would be the prize of Miami's O-line class. Listen, I still consider him a prize of this class. We're very excited about Jackson Cantwell, of course, the number one player in the country, but the way you've been talking about Joel Irvin, right? We aren't letting certain guys stay under the radar, and I think Canon Pickett is someone who should still be considered a huge pickup here today. Again,
yeah, considering who saying though, it's like in the old days, you get a guy like this, and you're like, okay, this is our guy. This is the guy we could not lose on the offensive line, right? It's like he's the guy. Whereas now you have Cantwell, you have Joel Irvin, you have Cogden, you have some of the gritty guys inside. You maybe have a Kaloje if you can withstand that Georgia visit, which I think you have a great shot at doing. So it's yes, he is a prize, but it's not like the only guy, right? And you might even have lost him in the past, right? Clemson might just come in and take him, and we said, man, why did we lose these legacies? How many legacies did we lose? So I think King Tut makes a great point that he's part of it, as opposed to in the past, he'd be the center of all of it.
So just kind of wrapping things up here, as we do when there's a commit like this. This has been a very strong position for this class. Obviously, to this point, a lot of bodies in the class already at offensive line. Where do they go from here? We're talking about Breck, Kaloje a lot. I don't know that he's that next one. People are speculating in the comments who's that number 2 coming tonight. You said earlier that you think it could be in the trenches on the other side of the football, but where does the offensive line go from here the rest of the class?
By the way, Brandon's asking, will you be back live tonight? I think we might be back taped. I got a baseball practice at night, so we'll tape ahead of time just to make sure we get it out. Hopefully we guess right. That's not always the case. Sometimes we think it's one thing. That Jackson Campbell video came out we recorded that one about a month early.
Well, we had to re-record that one for sure. That was we did a live one actually the second time, but yes, we did record one of those like a month before he actually ended up making his decision.
But yeah, I think we could add to the trenches here. CF Kane, good question. How will the settlement affect Kane's connection, the NILs? I don't think it's going to affect in terms of there'll be an adjustment, but the importance of it, huge. Remember, Kane's connection also front loaded a lot of deals, right? That need to be funded to get in before the. Everybody did this. It's not just Kane's connection. The good collectives spent a lot of money before this new system went into place. Like when you looked like it was going to happen, there was a rush to get deals done with Kane's connection. So Kane's connection needs you guys. That is allowing us to use the rev, because otherwise money's going to come from somewhere. If it doesn't come from Kane's connection, there's going to be cap money that needs to get used. So we need to get that done and continue to support Kane's connection more than ever, really, because that's what gives us an advantage now, right? Everybody's going to have the same amount of money under the cap. Having a good collective now, it was before, but now it's really the difference because everybody's going to spend the same under the cap. Now, whoever has the best collective, the smartest collective, the most well-funded collective is going to have major advantages. So please continue to support Kane's Connection. We'll still give you those private Zooms. Sign up, canesconnection.com/CIS. Get that /CIS in there so I can get you those private Zoom calls with the most direct insider info. We'll continue to try to stay ahead of the curve and land classes like this, man, because it's not cheap. It's not cheap. And some of these names we're talking about are not cheap at all. These are big-time recruiting battles.
Brandon asking if the bank will be tomorrow with Mike Ryan on the Wednesday show.
Most likely. I missed a couple calls. I always get called when I'm in the shower recording. I recorded an interview with Brian Walters today for Storm Sessions, Miami's closer of Canes baseball, he was awesome. Check out that interview. I think we got Markel Bell tomorrow coming out, which I recorded last week. He was great. I cannot recommend enough this interview, which should drop around sometime in the morning. Our show with Mike will be at 2:00. It looks like. Markel Bell, unbelievable interview. You want to talk about trench monsters with Canon Pickett? Check out that interview with Markel Bell dropping tomorrow. But
did you convince him to get a vegan version of his burger at Pop Subs?
I didn't try, man. I didn't want him to throw me out of the club.
Patrick, if you know what, Patrick would probably hook that up for you if you asked for it, though.
Patrick with the veggie subs is a beast, man. I'll tell you, Canon Pickett, though, he doesn't have to eat too many veggie subs because he is not fat. I mentioned the size, 320 plus. That's another difference between these offensive linemen. I can't think of the last offensive lineman that came in under these guys that you say, man, they're fat. They got to lose a bunch of weight. He looks good. I saw him this weekend walking around, and he looks good. He'll obviously have time in the weight room and just get college ready, but it's not like he's got to shed 30 pounds or something like that. He looks physically good, strong, athletic. Will need development like everybody. Probably, I think, more of a year before he makes a big contribution. But I could see a Matt McCoy type trajectory to Canon Pickett. And if you get that kind of trajectory on top of everything else you're doing, you're feeling very, very good as a Miami Hurricane fan.
Keep it locked. Might have another one popping tonight. It looks like that'll happen. So we'll have you covered here on Canes Insight. Big one here with Canon Pickett. Remember to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Probably see you guys later tonight. If not, then we'll see you guys tomorrow on Canes Insight Daily.
Go Canes.
Go Canes.